So we wanted to a couple things we should talk to you when you're in the lab, probably next week. So Sally can talk to you about the NGO application to kind of figure out where it went to. It should be somewhere. And then what else? And then for pacemakers, we can talk to the students about like officially launching the student organization for the fall, because that's when most groups are going to kind of kick off and will have most amount of kind of momentum and interest. So Sally and Eileen, they're looking into that. So yeah, I think it'll be good to have some kind of a student group in the undergrad campus and also at Feinberg, since now we'll have like Grace and Sally there present. Yeah, I think that's it for pacemakers right now. Well, regarding the pacemakers, ASCO posters, we're working on that. Grace found a template that she would like to use, so we're working on that. The deadline to submit the posters is next Monday, so we'll have the posters ready. Would you like us to run it by you, or are you okay to have us just upload them?
Oh, run it by me. The best venue is through this lab meeting.
Okay, unfortunately, we don't have much to show you right now. She had exams.
That's okay.
Yeah. So we'll send it to you before we submit, and then we'll run it by you.
Yeah. Okay. So number one, Zoe was going to interview Marky. And because of their schedule, it wasn't able to be done, but Marky's now back. You can talk to Zoe that she can now work on doing the interview with Marky. And you can let her know all the SOPs that we set up.
Sure.
Number two, there's a good chance that Lois might not,
Yeah.
do it because she's really struggling right now. So I think we'll shift towards doing more now, nurses, healthcare providers. So remember we had a list of doctors.
Yeah.
So we could work on that now. And maybe, for the physicians who are now like seeing patients, we can do their videos. Yeah, I think Jin Young Pang or William Pei, Iser Kim, people who are doing residency right now would be a good candidate, and we could see how undergrads can find time to meet with them and interview them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go to the provider list this time.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't matter who wants to interview who. You can randomly assign them.
Sure.
So the rule is 1 interview per month.
Yeah.
For each team involved. So yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, whoever wants to talk about their research first can do it. I think we have only 1 hour.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have stuff to discuss, but then also I want to be mindful of time today, and I know some people are working on a closer deadline. So, if does anybody want to go first, or I can share?
Can I go? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you're echoing.
Everyone mute, please.
I'm mute.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, we I think. Did you?
No, my mic is on
Oh,
because
you
I'm
weren't using
talking.
I thought we were sharing my.
Oh, can I use your?
Can you guys hear me? No, because like right now, like I think she mute also. You can talk. Can you hear me? She said, can you hear me?
It's very soft.
Oh.
Okay, so I will share my screen.
Okay.
I have been very no, I'm not proud. I have just from that very favorable email by Lancet, I've just started writing the manuscript based on Lancet. I don't care. I'm just gonna start with Lancet.
What did they say?
For the cancer screening review. So basically, we have finished extracting information from the data that, like I said before. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, okay. So extraction of
Did you
data is
email Lancet?
now my new task for people
Do
will
you
be
hear me?
to do risk of bias on the papers that we did.
Dr. Che has a question.
Do you hear what I'm saying, Chui?
I think he cannot hear you.
Really?
Chui, can you hear
My
me?
thing is not working.
Is your voice speaker working?
Is everyone else hearing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You guys cannot hear me?
안 들려.
Because
내가 연락을
Juhi, can you hear Dr. Che?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chui?
I guess not. Dr. Che, we can hear you.
nobody can hear me.
I didn't join audio, so basically I hear everything from the speaker. I hear from. Oh, I hear you. But I hear me. Yeah. But
You don't hear me?
I could hear you.
Wait,
Can you hear me?
There's one laptop. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. I can hear you, but we can't hear. I'm hearing Dr. Che. Did anyone hear him say?
Can you hear me? Can you?
The speakers on. Turn it on your speaker.
I turned it on.
You turned it on your speaker.
Yeah.
Turn it on and you will.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I hear you now.
Oh, okay, good.
This is so
I was saying, did you email Lancet and did they get back to you?
They got back to me last time and they said they were interested in, they said, when we write the cover letter, we should mention our exchange of emails in the cover letter so that my paper does not get, I guess, lost in the triage.
Mm-mm.
So in that sense, it's nice, but then like, I don't know. I mean, they are a difficult journal, but I feel like I need a target journal for now. And
Yeah,
then-
it's great that they showed interest.
yeah,
don't
and
do that often.
their guidelines are very detailed. So I kind of like it. I kind of like their guidelines. So like I feel like if I just do it by their guidelines, I could submit it for other journals too, just because Lancet guidelines are like super detailed and extensive.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's great. That's a
Yeah.
great start.
So I'm looking because they want risk of bias for all the articles that are selected. So I'm looking into that, and I came across Robbins I, and Rob 2, which was what I used back in undergrad. But I wanted to like double check with you like if you had like a specific ROV that you'd prefer that people usually use. I use this one, but like I don't, and I know Eugene used Newcastle, but is there a specific one that you?
No, whatever, people are using nowadays, it's fine.
Okay, I think because when I googled it, Robbins was still like currently used, and that's what I used before, so I think this is okay. And I had a question. I didn't understand, like one of their guidelines said studies registration number, like we don't have a registration number, do we?
So that
Like,
is for the
never-
randomized clinical trial or any clinical trial that are registered in NCT,
And what's?
National Clinical
Oh.
Trial Number, NCT.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's in the clinicaltrials.gov. Those numbers. So if you don't register your trial, then you don't have
Okay.
that number.
Okay.
But most clinical studies, if you consent and accrue patients,
Mhm.
usually they do. Doesn't have to
Okay.
be randomized trial. But if it's a retrospective study, you just analyze the existing data,
Mhm.
then you don't usually register in that site. So you don't have that number. So it's fine.
Okay, okay, okay. I just didn't understand that part, so I wanted to ask. Yeah, I mean, like, for this week, I'll just ask everyone to do the risk of bias thing, by Friday, and then, I want everyone to go through the full text exclusions. Like, everyone wrote reasons, but then nobody like completed the table completely, so like, I'm just gonna ask them to double check on that. And that's gonna be by Monday. And meanwhile, I'll be like working on the manuscript itself. I'll try to finish up introduction and methods. Uh, and kind of get a gist of what the results would look like. That's my plan for this week. I just wanted your input for ROB then. That's why I was like kind of in a hurry. But
Okay. So how are you planning to do, let's say you rob two, but are you done
This
with
is-
selecting
Yeah.
relevant files?
Oh, sorry, I should have, yeah, we're done with selecting, we are done with selecting, I would like maybe to go through it again, but we're done with selecting and extracting information from the selected articles. One sec. My computer is super slow right now. So these are like the information everyone extracted. So these are the articles that are selected for now. But then I was going to like talk to Eugene about, if these were actually like, if we could do a meta on them or not. But my concern for having abstracts is how are you going to assess the risk of bias in abstracts?
I don't think you can. There's no method that's complete. It's just, so
Hmm.
did you do abstract or not yet?
We included abstracts,
Okay.
but it's not like we didn't do like an extensive search of abstracts, but there were some abstracts that were included in the PubMed, the Cochrane, and the original search that we did for articles. So we included those abstracts. But I tried to eliminate abstracts as much as possible. If they had an original article, I just made sure everything was like the abstract part was gone. But there are some abstracts that are included, but I don't like because Lancet requires ROB. I don't know how that's gonna work.
So what was the abstract selection criteria? What was your search engine?
The search engine. No, we didn't do that.
We 213. We was not able to.
Oh, yeah, that's true. AACR and asthma. AACR and asthma?
Yeah.
So I know you guys had trouble with ASCO, but you have to be consistent.
So I was thinking to just get rid of abstracts completely too. Or I could send out another email asking them if I can include abstracts. Because I cannot do ROBs on abstracts. And I have to submit ROBs as supplements. For
I
Lancet.
see. So is there any important data in just the abstract format?
Hmm,
You can show the list.
I didn't write abstract or not abstract.
Oh, I have those.
Oh, I wrote it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, that's 806 patient.
Yeah, but then if you look at the values, it's like, I don't think there's enough information. At least for this abstract. I didn't give the undergrad abstracts. I gave all the abstracts to, this is an abstract. I remember giving abstract to the last. This is an abstract.
If you go to the old, you mentioned the.
But then there's no information. Nobody
Yeah,
entered
yeah.
in data, right?
In that sheet,
In that sheet.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least you can find one.
So there is 1, 2, 3 abstracts. That I
Out
submitted.
of how many? Out of how many?
Out of how many?
4, 6, 10, 14, 18.
And this is multi-cancer?
Oh, sorry, 17. Yes, multi-cancer.
Can you tell me the sample size for each study? I want to see the landscape of.
So for the first study, it's 332 for discovery cohort, and then around 3,000 for validation. And this is the next study. So the sample size, the number of patients involved is pretty big for most of the journals that are selected.
So if the abstract sample size number is comparable, it's best to keep it. But then if you,
Yeah.
I just feel like we have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm. The sample size of abstracts are pretty big too. My concern is I don't know how to submit what they require when I just cannot do. I guess if we look for like other journals, they might take abstracts. But I don't think Lancet does. I could like email them to double check. But then if you do abstracts, that means we have to figure out how to work the ASCO database.
Right.
That's why I was like, maybe we should just do away with abstracts for now. Just have it have a mention in the discussion or something.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'll just say
I-
out
Mhm.
my thought process. So the purpose of this review is to
Yes.
review what is most relevant, what is most recent.
Mhm.
So abstract is something, so the readership wants to catch the most recent data, which has to be in the format of abstract, in a lot of times,
Mhm.
because it takes time to publish a paper. So in that regard, we definitely want to include ASCO. That search thing is, technical issue. I think we just have to find out a medium. We can't let go ASCO because it's the biggest clinical cancer meeting. I think we just have to find for ASCO, because we could say that the search term so search terms were used, but it has to be consistent. And so I don't know, still let's brainstorm what can we do about ASCO and maybe work with them. And then so this is what I would do. Lance said, for these review papers, do you accept abstracts? Number one. Number two, so bias assessment is very difficult for abstract. So is it okay? So if they say we want to include abstract, it's or they just say it's okay to include abstract, and you say the risk bias assessment is going to be difficult. Is it okay that we exempt abstracts from doing risk bias assessment? And they say for abstract, just insufficient data to assess. We'll just leave it as that. Is that okay with your journal policy? If they say that it's okay, you have your answer. If they say no to any of those, then you have your answer too. So let's see what they take, because they're the one final judge, and go from there. But in the meantime, we got to figure out what to do about ASCO, because I think every journal is different. I've not seen any journal that says you can't do abstracts.
Mhm.
So let's assume that they're going to take abstract. Let's figure out a way to do ASCO, talk to them. And I mean, the search has to be just consistent across meetings, ASCO, ASMO, ACR. It's the search engine algorithm is different. That's why we're suffering here, maybe.
Mhm.
Um,
Also, I'd like to bring up the issue of time. I only have 3 weeks left,
mhm.
which is why I wanted to get started on the manuscript, because I'm thinking it's gonna take at least 2 weeks and most likely 3 weeks full for the manuscript. And if I think about getting it published somewhere, I could possibly do that after I go back to Korea. But then again, like I'm not very confident about how much I can work after I go back, just because I don't have any step. I didn't even take step 1 yet. So I would like to focus on taking exams.
Hmm.
In the light of time, like I don't know if having abstracts is feasible, because I would like to get started on what we do have. And we do have more information than the other review articles out there. Well, at least we have the articles that they didn't include. So I would like to start the manuscript with where what we have. And then if I can manage to get more time in Korea, which I'm not very confident about. Or if someone in the lab potentially in the future can help me out, then we will, I guess, upgrade the manuscript. But like, I just feel if we keep doing like article searching, I just feel we will stop at article searching and not really have a result out is my concern. Because I only have 3 weeks left and this is taking longer than I thought.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is why I would like the manuscript like made, like finished with what results we do have. And then the next person can potentially work with me to include abstracts to that manuscript. Because like including more, because abstracts, I don't think there's enough data to like do a full-on meta. Abstracts is gonna be narrative. It's just gonna be an add-on. If we looked at like, I guess we only looked at 3, but like, there's not enough data to do like a full-on statistic analysis.
Hmm.
They only have like N, or like, they do have like values here and there, but it's not enough for like a full-on analysis. And something that did not have ROB is included in statistical analysis. Like, I don't know how that could work either. Like, I'll definitely like email Lancet and ask if they accept abstracts, but then as far as abstracts are concerned, and like in light of time, like I don't think that's within my bandwidth.
Yeah, I understand that.
It's like shorter than I thought, and review articles is not something that it's more like a team effort. So it depends on other people's time too. So it was like longer than I thought. It took longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Because every like little project, every little task, I have to give a week at least. So
Mhm.
just because everyone's working on everything else too. So because if we're doing the screening again, then that's gonna take another 2 weeks. And I don't think that's, yeah. I don't think that's reasonable.
Well, you're lucky to have other members.
I
help.
am very, very lucky, but I have to think if I had like 2 more months, then I feel that's possible, but like, it's just not easy to finish in 3 weeks, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So I feel like I'm gonna like not be able to finish, like I'll be like cut short halfway and then like, and wanting to eventually continue it, but not being able to do that until I finish step 1 and 2. Is my concern.
So this is what I think. Number one, I don't think we can compromise anything by what you can commit, what you cannot commit.
Okay,
Number two, scientific integrity comes over everything else. If we can't do it, we can't do it. We stop. Okay.
okay,
Number two, if we're aiming for Lancet, we'll go by what they are okay with. So if they're okay with abstract, we will do abstract. We'll figure out a way.
Mm.
If they are not okay with abstract, then we don't do abstract. Very simple.
Mm.
Number three, this article was not meant to do meant for meta-analysis. Meta-analysis, let's say if you want to look at the effect of one drug, then they do different trials. If you want to look at the effect of blood transfusion, then you can do meta-analysis. These platforms are all different. They're using different technology, different algorithm. Sometimes they combine, for example, CancerSeq. So you can't just say liquid biopsy performance and do meta-analysis. It's not something that can be pulled, in my opinion. Even you can't, Garden performance and Lucent's performance, and biodesics performance. You've seen in my clinic how different they are in terms of sensitivity. One company would pick it up, the other company totally misses it every time. So you can't assume similar quality of each assay and pull it. And then there's no value of looking at that pulled value because there's no similarity. So you're not looking at each essay, as you know, as similar assays. You're looking at them as a totally different platform. And the point of this review paper is really to compare, not pull. Compare the performance of each essay, and is it even comparable? Did they use the same metric to be compared? Like, so they use different metric. This company only reported sensitivity. This company only reported positive predictive value. You can't compare those numbers. So your job is to line it all together. Did they use same metrics? Is this case control? They did only case control. Did they do really a prospective follow-up cohort study and follow the instance over time? So by various epidemiology, like methodology, and by different index, is it comparable? And then when it's comparable, then how are they performing differently? By graph, table, figures, you could make that apparent. Again, I've never mentioned meta-analysis for this paper. So whether you include abstract or not does not affect your writing. And I think you can write it up without abstract as a first version to save time, and you can use that version. See how things unfold, but you can write it up before you leave with just the publication version, whatever, and then we can just add up. It's not meta-analysis, so you're not doing any analysis. You're just comparing. If it's a bar graph, you're going to have just one more bar next to it and kind of describe that in the text. So you're not really waiting for anything or losing any time by doing it. You're just, maybe you can focus on writing up. You can ask other members to help you with the abstract. And in my opinion, the risk assessment is really not feasible because there's no full manuscript to look at the methodology and really look at the details. So in my view, it's totally fine not to do bias assessment for abstract. But Lancet might say otherwise. That's why I say go with what Lancet says. And the same is true for other journals. So if I were you, Lancet might not take it. So for other target journals, you can submit and ask the same question so that you have an answer, and you could go with a journal with a similar policies that you don't have to for the next second and third trial. So you can revise minimal level. All right, so these are my 3 principles.
So I will try to make 2 versions of the manuscript, one including the abstracts and one not including the abstracts, because we do have 3 abstracts. And see where it goes. I'll try to definitely finish the one not including the abstract, but I will still write up one that includes the abstract, because like it's gonna be different from the flow charts. Because the flow chart would also be different. The tables are gonna be a little different.
Is there any point to just make ones without abstract?
Because that is a manuscript I can finish.
I'll help you.
Okay.
So I think that's a good idea. You can finish the publication only version, then you or someone else can work on the abstract version. So again, I will clarify our lab rule. This is in the SOP. Eugene, make sure So whoever leaves the lab signs out their project. Okay, same with Seungmi. My assumption is you will not work on the project. Okay, you've done what you can. I mean, I understand. That's why, you know, you commit certain number of months. Some people 3 months, 6 months. You know, you kind of gauge what you can, and there's no knowing, not even me, like how long it's going to take for each of you to do the project. You know, it's some people say, oh, I'd rather work with patient data, and the patient data is not easy. I'd rather do a review paper. Well, review paper is not that easy either. There's so many data. I said, you know, you can work on a case report, just takes maybe like a couple of days. No, it's not a couple of days. You read a lot to understand the mechanism, and even case report takes a lot of time. So, I mean, you guys are not done with your medical training. You're not done with internal medicine or hemong training. Like person who finished hemong training, a lot of it, like case report can really be done in a couple of days. Because they have all the background knowledge they need. For radiologists, writing a radiomics paper may be really easy thing to do. Because you have to study all the background knowledge from the beginning and get yourself motivated, I understand it takes time. So this 3 month or 6 month is not meant to be, I have to have a tangible outcome. I understand you may not, and that's not my expectation. You work on what you can do, and your proper, your efforts will be reflected. However, by abstract or being a co-author, the rule is first author. If you want to keep your first author spot, you have to submit it, and then you have to be able to revise and submit. You can collaborate with people and assign things, but if you like, I give up, like I don't want to keep doing this. I have to study for step 1. For some people, I have to get married and go to honeymoon. I can't do this. The default is when you leave Chicago, that you don't ever touch your manuscript again. That's default. You sign out, you know, I'll tell you who you sign out to. But there's been exceptions, like I really want to finish this. I'm attached to this project. I will do whatever it takes to finish, and I will attend all the lab meetings to make sure, even in Korea or during my residency, I will do my best to present, update at least managers so they can present on my behalf how the project is moving forward. So there have been people, and I've trusted them, and I don't think I've met anybody other than Minjung or maybe Young, who actually showed persistent participation and actually completion of the project. It requires tremendous dedication, but that's just my favor that I can give to people. But most people, what end up happening is, I really want to I don't give it to anyone, Dr. Che. I want to finish this, and then they go back, and then I'm so busy, and that happens for some people 4 months, and they give up. Some people 4 years. They don't give up, and I can't give it to anybody, and they just keep saying I'm so busy. I will finish it. Some people have been saying that for 4 years, and I was not able to finish it. Okay, and that's still happening with Dr. Yuno. So I said, every time I ask him, oh, I'll come to the lab meeting next week, and I never see him here. So so I feel like he has to sign out his project to someone else, and I suggest Arnie, because this is the exactly same hyper progression project that Arnie has been working on. So so I think Arnie has to take over, or really work very closely with so my frustration is, if you don't completely sign out, it's going to be challenging for me to ask, like, hey, give me an update, and you're gonna be frustrated. Oh, I have to study for step. Why are you bugging me? Like, like it's going to be very uncomfortable. So either you sign out completely and really forgive your first authorship, first of all, this 3-6 month is not designed to give you authorship. It's a learning experience, and I do my best to reflect your work by giving you some academic credit. So I don't want you to think like, oh, I've worked so much and Dr. Che is not, reflecting, not giving me due credit that I deserve. I would say you don't really deserve anything. This was not your first idea. I've been mentoring you all throughout. This was not designed. So I will give you all the credit you need if you attend all the lab meetings and then take it to completion, which is submit, revise until the end. Then that's what first authors do in the academia world. Like if you sign out, that's not your project anymore. Like you say, I have nothing to do with this project. I will move on with my life. And that is my expectation. I think everyone has, like Arnie has to study step 3. Julie has to study step 1, right? So everyone has things to do, and I totally get it. I wanted this few months to be really focusing on what you can do, like really see your potential as a researcher. What can I do, or how can I be motivated? It's really just time to test yourself. So I want to always set this straight, and I want to make sure Eugene O, if all this is an SOP, so that they know what is the expectation. Some people get angry if they start with different expectation. So my hope is that you complete the actual, the initial draft and submit to Lancet, whatever the journal is, because that would really be good. I would say most people don't get to completion of manuscript while they're in Chicago. Most people. Some people do the analysis and they leave. They never even write up abstract while they're in Chicago. So don't think everyone. I mean, there are really good examples where they were able to finish. I mean, I can go on and on about different examples. Like Isir Kim, while doing residency, she always writes some abstract and she gets it selected for presentation. So it's really up to what your passion is and how much time you can devote. I think Minjung Kim has developed her interest in meta-analysis. She postponed her step many months to finish and submit the project. For her, the meta-analysis really meant a lot to her, I know, and she was really sleep deprived, I know, and she finished. I think her quality of work is exceptional. Her meta-analysis really good. So I think you can't get everything in your life. If you commit to something, you have to, make amendments to your initial plan. But it's up to you. It's totally personal judgment. But I think we'll just have to work with our, different people's expectation. My expectation is you can help. So I think it's important that you show that you are a collaborator, team player. You can work with others to work on project, and you can all be co-authors on different papers by working together. So I think that part is important. So I value that very much. But then again, your main project, if you can submit and that's great, but that doesn't guarantee your first author spot. Because like if the revision is tremendous, like, and you say I can't revise, like I can't. So then it kind of depends on what the next person does for the paper. So as a PI, I get to decide who did what, but I ask you guys first, like who, and then I ask the project lead to ask like who actually do you think spend most time or contributed most heavily on this project, and then I will assign you to have them, same with you, Chuhi, you can decide, or you can tell them you all contributed well, so I'll just flip coins to see who I can put your name on first. That's what I did for Eugene Kim and Samantha. If they both want to be the first spot, and then if they all equally did really like a lot of work, you can think about doing equal contribution for all, like for all first authors. You could be 4 first authors. So think about those stuff and think about the expectation. Think about what you can do or cannot do. But I only want what's best for you, what's best for your future. But also, I don't want you to be all stressed out about it. It's all about learning experience, how to think about science as your integrated career in your clinical career. So that is that. I know it's kind of long, but because we're approaching, I know for Sinmi and Juhi, I think you guys need to know it's all in the SOP. But to spend time to read SOP and Eugene O, make sure it's reflected there. I just have been struggling with this. Like people like, oh, I don't want to sign out, Dr. Chick. Please, can I just finish it on my own? And I've not had many people who keep the promise. So that's been my major struggle. I'd be happy if you like, I'll sign out, I'll forget everything about it. These people, I have no issues. And there's people like who sign out and then like, why didn't you keep me as first author? I'm so, just disappointed. They're that type of people. Like, well, if you want to keep your first author, then you have to submit. You can't rely on others to submit and revise on your behalf. So that's sort of like wide academic rule. And we have that in SOP, who deserves to be author, who deserves to be in the acknowledgement only, and who deserves to be first author. You can't be author just by, doing a proofreading, like, like grammar check. That's not author, right? So we have that criteria, and it's all in SOP. So Eugene, make sure everyone reads it, understands. But we like to follow the rule. I don't want to give any exceptions. I want all you to succeed, but we operate by the rules. So there's no favoritism. There's, I just want to be fair in everything we do. Okay.
Yeah, that was my biggest concern, because like I know for a fact that, well, I wouldn't take more than 2-3 months for step 1, but then again, like I feel like this review paper is a little time sensitive, so I would potentially like someone to get it published within 2-3 months. Like I'm just worried that it's gonna, be there in the corner waiting for years. I don't want that for the paper. The paper needs to be out.
Oh yeah, review paper. So that's what happened
Why?
with the radio mix paper. That's what happened exactly.
It's
We
like super
waited
time
for a
sensitive.
year, and then I've been assigning it, and then people are busy. They can do, and they don't work on it. So I'm frustrated as you are, Juhi.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
the thing is,
Sorry if I came out as aggressive, but like I'm just frustrated with time.
right, and it is with any research, but particularly for these type, because the data will come out every month. It's
Exactly.
different.
I know something else. I'm pretty sure someone is writing something similar right now, so I need it to be out. Like,
Exactly.
I am so frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. So this is right. Like, so Chuhi, like I know you have to study for step 1. It's your life. You have your own timeline. It's like, oh, am I willing to invest, 1 more month just solely to completely, fully and submit? So that's your judgment, right? And then if I sign out, and I'll give you the first choice, Chuy, and you can tell me later on, 1-to-1, who would be the best person to sign out, if and then
Obvious.
who you can work most closely with. Because it's a collaboration. You need to trust that person.
Yeah.
So so that's think about that as you sign out. Same thing with Seungmi and
Mhm.
Chuyi. Once you graduate, who will I sign out to? Think about it, because there has to be a main lead.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
those are the things to consider.
Okay, I'm gonna say one line for Vivian Panu. Well, Eugene wrote out the introduction and we're reading through it, so introduction will be done soon. In like a day or two, maximum.
Okay, did
And
we
Seungmi has to say something, so.
confirm the figure and table for this?
I confirmed it with you last time, but if you wanna confirm
Well,
it
it
again,
was
that's-
confirmed, then it's fine.
Yeah. Can you share your screen? And then Arnie is gonna show you the figures that she made for Vivian.
Yeah, you want to watch it?
No, Arnie, share your screen, please. She'll take time, or Seungmi can go first, since we don't have much time.
Why did you like the sign out?
So I heard about what you said about the sign out. So I will sign out properly, and I'll just be focused on doing that on Thursday and Friday. I'll start making the sign out, but I'll do it by Thursday and Friday. But also I do want to say that I became fond of my project, because although I feel like a turtle, but everything that I learned is new, and I do really there is a lot of things that I got excited about, although I know I'm really slow. So I am really comfortable with signing out properly, and I am comfortable with anyone taking my project full on and then taking the credit. But I do feel like I can come to lab meetings because I will not work on Tuesday. And I got my housing contract, I got all my visas and every document done, and I planned out all the 병원 예약 and 친구 예약. So I've been doing that mostly, planning out my month in Korea. So hopefully not working on Tuesday and not doing anything else other than attending some meetings with friends. I probably could participate, but I don't mind if that's just me supporting the main person who will take my project. But if nobody is as enthusiastic, I'll try my best to do something. But I do understand that time is of essence with everything. So yeah, that's just what I feel like about my project. But I will sign out properly to Liam and I guess Eugene. And also I'm very lucky to have Richard, who's a very enthusiastic and able undergraduate, and he has access to Epic. So I think, and he is very involved in my project more than me, I think, in terms of his enthusiasm. So like, I feel like he could also be someone who's like the bridge.
Yeah. Sumi, if you think you can
can't hear you.
consistently come to the lab meeting every Tuesday, one other, because here's the thing, if you sign a project to other person, that project will be the bottom of their interest. Okay, they're gonna just carry on. They're gonna focus on their own main project. It's not like they're gonna do it as what you with the strength or the devotion that you had. So if you care more about your project, if you think you want to really publish your project in a timely manner, I think you can take the lead until you can. I'm just suggesting until you actually cannot come to Tuesdays, like residency starts. Well, it will start very soon, but at least for the few weeks, you can mentor Richard and have him really be involved in finishing the manuscript and submit it. That's one possibility, and once that's done, then you could kind of say, I'm starting my residency. And then if Richard is someone who can come to meeting on regular basis, he can be the lead. We have Emma was undergrad and she was the lead. Eugene Kim was, medical student. He was the lead for his project.
Could you put it down? I could hear now.
What is the sound?
Alright.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, undergrad medical student can be the lead, as and if you, and then you can be like a remote mentor. If they have questions about clinical issues, then you can guide them. But then actual, making tables, figures, writing manuscript, they can do it. If you believe they have the ability, then you can remotely still mentor them and carry on. I mean, I'm just giving you that as an option. If you want to sign out and just really just watch the lab meeting and not be involved, that's also possible. Whatever you want to do, I'm happy to support you.
I will sign out because I know that being in presence, I will sign out for this purpose. Because you have to be in present at the same space to be able to give all the information. But that's, I think it has to be done anyhow because like 인계는 항상 같이 말로 할 때 제일 빨리 전달되고 written form or doing Zoom after in Korea is just going to be a problem. So I want the lab managers and Richard, those three people are going to hear for a long time. So I want to give all the information.
Yeah. So I want to get this straight. So whether you still lead the project or you sign out, everyone has to sign out because this is another policy. Let's say you are en route to Seoul or Indonesia and plane crashes. Everyone goes down with you, like your knowledge and so whatever you've done, wherever. So this is same with Seungmi and Chui. Whatever file you created, you have to write a sign out summary. Like this is what I used. This is where the data is stored. So even if the plane crashes, after reading that, someone else can still pick up the project. So you cannot rely on, talk to me, I will sign out. No, you have to write. Even if you verbally sign out, don't expect that person to write things. You write your sign out. Say, this is where it's stored. This is how you analyzed, all that. Everything you've done.
I saw Haesung's one, and hers is like a perfect example of a sign out, and its written form is really perfect example of a sign out. So I'll follow Haesung's footsteps, and verbal is just to get all those small things, the details that you really should know, just so that it's the information.
Oh yeah. You have to do it
So
verbally. Both.
Okay.
You have to do it verbally because you can't. Like you have to show it. This is how I did it, or if it's a resist project, let's say Arnie has to show people like this is how I did the resist, for example, things like that. So you need to do verbal and written sign out. Whether you take the lead or whether you totally sign out, it doesn't matter. We need an emergency co-lead, even if you take on, carry on the project.
Yeah.
So
my
that's
residency
very important for a lab like ours.
So my residency.
Can we cut it short and let Arnie show the?
Yeah. Okay.
figures?
So I'm done. Arnie has a very important question.
Okay, go ahead. I cannot hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I will share screen this one. So I make the picture of Vivian Pano. There's a two graphic I want you to choose. So this is the first one about the timeline. We put the draft above and we put the resist criteria under it, and also the lab. There is like two types, like this one. I put the months inside the arrow, or you want like another more conventional one, like.
Oh, this is better because the firmer one, we're not emphasizing the month. It was too big. And you can even make the arrow smaller. I mean,
Okay, so you like the second one?
yeah.
And for inside this, is there anything you want to put more in the timeline or like any feedback for the timeline?
So stable disease, progressive disease, partial response. So I don't know what the arrow means. It's going downward and there's a different length for, I think one is lab, one is, so this is not conventional and it doesn't, so there's a waterfall plot where the length of the downward means actual shrinkage. So it just looks very confusing to me. If you want, let's say, if you want, so this is how I would do it. If there's a stable disease, so this is compared to a scan before the -17 and 55. This is not from the baseline. This is from the scan before, or the nadir. So this is difficult to put it in your head. So what I would do is you can put the label stable disease progression, this partial response, but also you can follow the sum of the resist measurement, sum, so
okay.
that there's a graph. And then same thing, the antibody is usually less than 0.9. So just put it in the footnote that antibody has been, always less than 0.9 or something like that. And then the TG level would be a graph. So there's a resist graph, and then you have a TG graph.
Okay.
So that's more informative than looking at it and try to process it in the head.
Oh, okay, so other than the timeline, so it's just like I made another two graph about the resist and about the lab, like the hormonal one.
So you can do different y-axis, one for resist sum, one for TG level, and you can draw two. If it's too hard, you can do it in the PowerPoint, but do whatever you can. Is what is feasible. If it's too difficult, you can make two different graphs.
In PowerPoint, it's still like doable. Yeah.
Wait, Professor, so what do you want us to use for the timeline? What do you want us to include for the timeline?
So it's not 1 month. It's what's
Sorry, could you repeat?
so it start with 0, 1, 2, and then you could put month at the as a unit.
No. You don't. So you're saying that because you want the graph for the TG and for the races, so you do not want this format of a timeline. To
You can
exist at
use this
all,
format
or-
of timeline
or
to
would you want this timeline? So this timeline would show drugs, but I was wondering like if there was
so
anything.
you can put drugs in the graph TG, so you can
okay,
you can
okay.
relate to why is it dropping. Oh, this is actually the time when this drug was started.
Okay, so let me see if I get this right. So you want a graph that shows both the TG antibody levels and the racist, the sum of the tumor burden, or whatever the sum is.
No, I said
and-
whatever is technically feasible. I think most journals would do y-axis here, do the resist sum, y-axis here, do the TG, and then you can put the regimens at each time point, and x-axis will be the and then you don't have to put the antibody. It will be the just the TG
just
level.
the TG, and you want the.
You don't have to
Well,
put TSH or free T4. Just be very simple.
Okay. Eugene, can I borrow your pen and paper?
So
Can I borrow this paper?
I have to go. I have to drive, but I'll see what I can do in the afternoon. Okay. And yeah, just save all your questions. Let me see what I can do in the afternoon, but it will be a busy day for me. But I'll let you know what my schedule looks like tomorrow.
Wait,
and we'll-
is he? No. Who's?
Anyone that does, anyone, just one
Okay,
Right.
I will see you guys later.
Wait, can you
Thank you,
wait for 1 second?
I think we can do it later.
Will it look like this?
Yes, it will look like that.
Okay, so you want the drugs here and then, oh, okay, thank you.
It's basically like a.
Okay,
I'll explain.
Congratulations, Dr.
Thank
Chang.
you.
thank
Oh,
you.
and do you know? Oh, never mind.